adapt, evolve with the times, move with technology. And so we're not just on Facebook, we're on Twitter Space. So if you happen to be on Facebook right now or you happen to be on Twitter, just join us in our Twitter Space. Our handle is Splash FM 1067. Facebook, Splash FM 106.7. So you can listen and, of course, comment as you deem fit. The hashtag for Twitter is hashtag Panorama as you tweet at us. And, of course, you can also listen to us via our website, www.splashfm1067.com. There's also Radio Garden. So with all of this available for you, you can pick whatever medium you'd like to use in listening to us. Panorama airs every weekdays from 8 o'clock to 10. We start with our issue of the day, and that is obviously the first assignment that we have on Panorama. Then from 9 to 10, we have From the Pages, where we begin to review newspaper headlines. Once again, thank you for joining us. My name is Lola Meduteni.
Thank you very much for keeping your dialogue on Splash 106.7 FM. It's time for Panorama. My name is Oyega Olani.
And I missed the perfect chance to say Ekabo. Sorry,
Eto Panorama.
Sorry, Eto Panorama yesterday. Yesterday was International Mother Tongue Day. And honestly, it's a day I'd been looking forward to because I was relishing the thought of beginning Panorama by saying, yes, I was rehearsing myself saying, Ekabo, sorry, Eto Panorama. Akin, Eku, Dede Asikoi, as the Yoruba presenter says. So, but hey, I hope that we all continue to appreciate our diverse cultures and languages. The Yoruba language, that's mine, that's yours, or whatever language, you speak. So let's begin without further ado, having already told you how you can be a part of the program. If you're listening to us via Twitter Space, if you're listening to us via Facebook, Splash FM 106.7, there's another medium that I forgot to mention, and that is, of course, WhatsApp. Each of the medium is just as important as the other one, be it WhatsApp, be it Facebook, be it Twitter. Wherever you send your comments to, be sure to read them. All right, then let's get on with the business of today. Nigeria's population is roughly about or over 200 million people, depending on who you ask. According to the chairman, National Population Commission, NPC, Nasir Issa Kwara, the figure is around 206 million people. The National Development Plan, NDP, estimates that Nigeria's population currently stands at 200 million. In June 2021, the United Nations published a report indicating that Nigeria's population had increased to 211 million and is predicted to reach 410 million by the year 2050. The World Bank reports that Nigeria's population as of the year 2021 was approximately 202 million, while the IMF reports as of 2021 estimated Nigeria's population to be 216.747 million. Statista's estimate of Nigeria's population is around 213 million, and a report by the World Population Review reveals that Nigeria's overall population will reach about 401.31 million by the year 2050. On the other hand, the Census Bureau of the United States reveals that by the year 2047, Nigeria's population will surpass that of the United States, thereby making it the third most populated country globally.
Generally, an accurate capture of Nigeria's population appears to be not just a game of numbers, but one of estimates and projections. The 2006 Population and Housing Census is the time the country has organized a population census. The result of said census revealed that the country's population was 140.43 million people, nearly 100 million more than at independence in 1960, when Nigeria had a population of 50 million people. With its population of over 200, Nigeria is regarded as the most populous black nation on earth and seventh in the world. Whatever figure you choose, several warnings have been sounded over the explosion in population Nigeria has witnessed in the last decade or so. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo said the country's population increase could become a liability if it is not well managed. The federal government, through Mr. Boss Mustafa, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, stated that Nigeria's rising population is a cause of concern in the future, warning that it needs to implement policies to deal with the rising population growth rate and keep the growth rate in check.
President Muhammadu Buhari recently launched the revised National Policy on Population for Sustainable Development, and the next population and housing census is already in the budget to be conducted this year. Let us now, as issue of the day, summarily discuss all things population planning, control, and census. And joining us to have that conversation, we have on the line Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi, who is at University. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us on Panorama today.
Good morning.
Should Nigeria not find a way to check its rising population, it will spell doom for our economy in the years to come. So it appears to be a foregone conclusion that Nigeria's population is unwieldy. Population, or that those who claim that our population will get to be too much for our resources are those from the West, you know, the Europe and America, and that the reason that they are making these dire predictions is because they are afraid of us posing a threat to them. Is there any credibility at all to those theories?
Please, it is even better if we do not give any names to any spurious conspiracy theory in respect of Africa. The statistics are clear. The rate of, we call it fertility rate. The fertility rate to every woman in Africa is 4.7. In other words, during her lifetime, every African woman is most likely to have 5 children. The fertility rate, if you compare it to some other areas in the world, especially in Asia, is 4.1. And the fertility rate in Europe is only 1.6. Even in some parts of Europe, it's actually less than 1. Like in Finland, in Iceland, in Sweden, in Norway, less than 1. Government has to bribe some people so that they can have, bribe in quotes now, so that they can have more children, particularly in Iceland. But let us not let us not waste our time on issues that are just sublime by arguing that some people are so envious of us that they want us to have less and less children. The truth is that the rate at which we are jumping in population in Nigeria particularly, I'm concerned about my country, and I have moral reasons to be more concerned about my country than any other country. The rate at which we are increasing in Nigeria is 3.7%, which is far greater than the Africa's average of 2.6%. Africa increases in population by 2.6%. Nigeria alone, 3.7%. That's killing. But what is the rate at which we are increasing economic resources, particularly infrastructure? Our growth rate is grossly less, 3%. It means that the rate at which we are increasing in population is far greater than the rate at which we are reproducing wealth.
Right.
The rate at which we are increasing is just too high.
But, Dr. Ogunyemi, on the list of countries that are most populated, there are about 3 countries that are in the top 10 or top 11 that are doing well economic-wise. And, they have a great population. No, not in Africa. I mean, China, Russia, the US, those are 3 of the most populated countries in the world. And these countries are doing well. So might one venture to say that our population is not the problem, but our management of our population or our resources in terms of our population or our mismanagement of our population?
Well, that is how we measure population troubles. We measure population troubles in respect of the given population vis-a-vis the resources available in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the quality of education, in terms of issues that have to do with the rate of growth, particularly in gross domestic product. That's how you measure it. I mean, if a man has 20 children and his income per day, his income per month is 200 million naira, and another person has only 5 children and his income per month is 5,000 naira, the 5 children person is overpopulated, where the 20 children person is underpopulated. It's as simple as that. Now, China, the rate at which China alone, it is the fastest growing economy in the world. It is faster, greater, bigger than that of the United States of America. It overtook the United States in 2018. You are talking of an economy that is 12 trillion American dollars. 12 trillion American dollars. And we want to compare it to Nigerian economy that is less than $40 billion. It's incomparable. So the issue is the rate at which we are growing our economy, our gross domestic product, our gross national product. In fact, if you look at it, look at even the rate at which we are even basic things like you can't say that in time.
All right. Well, we'll continue the conversation with Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi, who is an economic historian at the Obafemi Awolowo University. As we said earlier in our prologue, our discussion today centers on our population size, population planning, population control, and population census, which, as we mentioned earlier, is already captured in this year's budget. And according to the NPC, there's a population and housing census to be conducted this year. Dr. Ogunyemi, we have you back on the line. So you had finished your thoughts regarding that question. Now, my next question to you now is the president's approach or the federal government's approach to dealing with our explosion of population is to launch this revised national policy on population for sustainable development. And what I could find out about it seems to show that there is a focus on looking at our fertility rates as a way to address this, this increase in population. A focus on using modern contraceptive methods to sort of reduce the fertility rates and, the mortality rates so that we can then try to curb the population size. But isn't that rather simplistic to say, let's improve access to modern contraceptive methods as a way to checkmate our population? Isn't there more to reducing our population than just doing that? Isn't it, as I said, simplistic, especially when you look at the fact that if you look at our parts of the country, different parts of the country, there are some places where there is resistance to contraceptives based on the region, the cultural and religious leanings, sometimes even the economic class, sometimes due to the level of literacy. According to the MBS, for example, the top 10 states where women do not use contraceptives happen to be in the north. So would it be an effective policy to say, let's curb our population size by focusing on improving access and encouraging the use of modern contraceptive methods?
See, the problems of, population growth and the measures that have been put in place to manage it. Don't forget that if you deliberately go reducing your population in 20, 30 years' time, you will suffer for it. So what you need to do is just manage it such that it does not run haywire. It does not run far greater than the rate at which you are growing economically. So it is management, not necessarily reduction. But the problems in this management have been three. These are three fundamental ones. The first is the cultural factor, religious and cultural factor. And this affects all parts of Africa, where children are seen as the heritage of the Lord, where they are also seen, having more children are seen as instruments for old age security in different parts of Nigeria. But also have attitudinal resistance to Planned Parenthood Federation of Nigeria's measures. Attitudinal, the greater part of that negative attitudinal use of contraceptives and other birth control measures is in the northern part of the country. There is no problem. I mean, it is just there. It's statistical. Nobody is blackmailing anybody. It's in the northern part of Nigeria. And the third is the political resistance. So people have thought that it is not politically wise in Nigeria, where the sharing of revenue is based upon population per state. And that if some states, particularly in the south, continue to control population by reducing their population, then they are strategically underbreeding themselves relative to the northern part of the country. In other words, it's not strategically wise to be controlling your population in a part of the country when others are increasing their own geometrically. Whereas, after all, population in Nigeria is a key factor in economic resources, in the distribution and allocation of economic resources. In fact, it's the biggest factor in voting. Take, for instance, the 2006 census in Nigeria. Do you know that we were estimated to be, the real population was 140 million. 140 million population. 75 million were in the north and 65 million in the south. In fact, that population figure also says that we have more male in Nigeria than female. So, in that instance, that means the north has 10 million votes in excess of the south. So, more than the south. So, what that means is that politically, the south is sentenced to political underdog to the north. And you have been seeing people boasting about that. We have the vote, we have the voice, we have this, we have that. So presidency must be in our place. So these are the three intervening factors in Nigeria. And these intervening factors in Nigeria affect us significantly in this country. So except we cure or curb the issue that has to do with cultural issues through the introduction of education. Education and enlightenment actually is the answer, rather than direct birth controls and other things like that. If you increase the level of education, people will link increase in population to poverty, unnecessary increase in the population to poverty, because population increase and explosion in the north is a key factor in the poverty of that part of the country.
So how have other countries been able to convert their population to good enough human resources to drive the economy? What is Nigeria doing, or what are these countries doing differently that Nigeria is not doing, such that these countries have been able to capitalize on this population to even drive the economy and make it even better?
What they are doing is simple. They are doing two things. Number one, they are increasing the level of their quality education. And how do they do that? They vote more than a quarter or approximately a quarter of their budget is invested in education. And look, education is just key to development. So, I mean, where in China you have 0% enrollment rate. I mean, you have 100% enrollment rate. So every child goes to school. You must get a skill. That's number one. In those countries, they are also improving on the level of their infrastructure. When was the last time Nigeria increased its electricity supply? I mean, the highest we have ever had in this country was 6,000 megawatts. And of course, you know that the least that you must have for a population of about 206 million is 50,000 megawatts before we can ever think of developing. Because modern development is anchored on electricity, the railway, and the perfection of the manufacturing system. And you cannot do manufacturing and industrialization without electricity. So electricity is at the core of modern development. So what these other countries are doing is that they are investing about a quarter of their total education, particularly technical education.
Talk about the population and housing census to happen this year. It goes according to plan. The last census was conducted 16 years ago. One should have held in 2016, but here we are 6 years later, and we still don't know how many Nigerians we have. We've mentioned the different estimates and projections of our population size by different bodies like the IMF, the World Bank, even Nigeria's National Development Plan itself. But have we been harmed by the fact that we have not had an accurate capturing of our population size in all these years? Because we've seen several poverty alleviation policies and strategies, even during the COVID pandemic, at the height of the COVID pandemic, the palliatives, for example, that were distributed. So we've seen several of the federal government's economic empowerment policies and strategies, such as the medium-term National Development Plan, even. And these can these kind of policies be effectively utilized without accurate information as to Nigeria's population size? Is that one of the ways that we've been harmed in not having done a census in all these years?
The simple answer is no. It's like you are planning without facts. There's a book like that. A book with that title by W. Stopper, Planning Without Facts. Lessons from Nigeria's the population system. Look, it is. Do you know the last time we did census was 2006? All other figures that we have been using since that time have been guesstimates. Just guesstimates. We are guessing. We are guessing that Nigeria is 206 million. We are agreeing with the United Nations statistics, but they could be wrong. See, nothing can be so fundamental in a country when you want to do planning, other than when you get your basic statistics. And the basic statistics concerning a country is given by its population census. Period. Now, population census 2006, and I know, of course, by our laws and our convention, population census is supposed to be done every 6 years since our statistics on population became obsolete. So, what have we done? In fact, there is no planning to do any census. Rather, you know what the federal government of planning has done? It has now constructed Nigeria Development Plan 2020 to 2025 based upon zero statistics or based upon guesstimates. And we people 2050. So you are planning without facts, and you expect that you are going to grow. You go there. In fact, let me give you something very rudimentary. As the issue of how many barrels of crude oil do we produce and export per day? Do you know it is based upon estimates? The Department of Petroleum Resources does not know, cannot tell us exactly how many barrels of oil we export per day. And yet, our economy, and I know for sure, more than 80% of Nigeria's total receipt is based upon that oil. Now, you base your economy upon what you are not sure you are doing. that tells you a clear picture of what kind of a country we are running. Exactly who we are. Do you know that we don't know the total number of children that are in school and out of school in return in this country? So, if you are planning on the issue of education, how do you plan to expand schools and the teacher system or teacher training system when you don't even know how many children you are going to have in the next 10 years? It's a shame.
Let me ask you now, the 2006 census, many people, even draw aspersions as regards the methods and some of the figures even, because you find a case where some people, inflate these figures, and many people have even said, well, do we even really believe the result of that census, especially with some of the figures that you have even reeled out earlier on the program today? So how can we ensure that even when a census eventually holds, that it is the right and true picture of what our population is indeed when it happens?
That one cannot be legislated by law, nor can it be a function of some technical advice from abroad. It's just attitudinal. It's attitudinal. And because it is attitudinal, it is ingrained in Nigerians' psychography. And why is it ingrained to tell lies in respect of statistics, including election statistics, including deliberately removing the names of some people from voters register during election, including overloading the voters registers with names of underage people who are not yet up to 18 years. That's very common in the northern part of Nigeria. So you have this kind of problems. They are attitudinal. You know the reason? The reason is that population, more under the Section 162 Revenue Allocation Fiscal and Fiscal Commission of Nigeria. So if a state, for example, is Kano, and the population is 9.4 million by 2006 census, it will get more resources than Lagos, that is 9.0 million. So that is it. Unless we disincentivize this idea of giving more money because you have more population, rather we turn it to tax effort. We can say you will be allocated a portion more than any other state if your tax effort, that is money you generate by way of tax, is greater than the other. You will see that it will reveal the lie in our statistics, because it will take matured, adults to pay tax, and the matured adults that pay tax, you can use it you can extrapolate it, or you can use it, you can disaggregate it to calculate the possible population of that area. You will see that it will fall drastically in some areas of Nigeria that they say that they are more populous than the other. If you say, okay, how many human beings are paying tax in this area? We want to know them, especially poll tax, that is your per capita tax. We want to see you. So you draw it from the receipt. You go and get the invoice and get the receipt of those who are paying taxes, and then you use it to extrapolate those who are most likely to be adults in that area. You will be amazed the result that you will get. You will be amazed.
What will happen if some of these projections come true that see Nigeria having about 400 million people, or over 400 million people in the next 20-something years, by 2050 or thereabout? Should we continue on this current trajectory? As it is, everyone seems to be saying that the government is broke, but should we continue in this trajectory with a revenue that is mostly being used to service debts, with the excessive borrowings that we are doing, and with the growing population? What do you project will happen in 2050 when we hit the 400 million mark, as the World Population Review predicts we will?
At the rate at which we are going in terms of education, the slow speed infrastructure development that we have in Nigeria, I can foresee that in 2030, 2050, we will be poorer than we are today. In fact, we will remember in 2030 or 2040 and say, oh God, please return to us the situation that we had in Nigeria in the year 2022. It will be as if it is heaven to us in 2040.
But we're already the poverty capital of the world.
You can be capital of the world in population and also be simultaneously capital of the world in terms of poverty. I mean, the two are not mutually exclusive. It is possible for you to be more in population. Have you not seen that some people who have decided to pile up money in their area, particularly in a part of Nigeria, they are increasing without due diligence to the capacity to sponsor those children? The poverty is great and much greater in that area than some other parts that are more conscious about reducing the number of their children. I'll give you an example. Poverty rate in Katsina State, that is the state of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is 83%. 83%. That is 9 out of every 10 persons in Katsina are not just poor, they are below poverty line. Can you see? So they live on less than $1 in a day in Katsina State. And the situation is almost the same in Jigawa State. In 12 other states in the north. Go and check out the population of those states that are that poor. You will see that their population is very high. So except we do something, it's just a matter of self-destruct. If you continue to increase in your number in population and you are not doing anything about education, you are not doing anything about infrastructure, no rail to convey them, then you don't have electricity for people to generate jobs for themselves, then poverty will behold you. It's as simple as that.
What should be the approach to this as regards? The
approach to be, one, attitudinal change, education, enlightenment through the National Orientation Agency, all the press, the newspaper press, if you like, the electronic media, the BBC, particularly BBC Hausa service, to be enlisted to at least plead with some people to reduce the number of their children, not to see having more children as a kind of a political empowerment, because that's how they see it in that part of the country. They see it as political empowerment, and of course it is empowerment. I mean, it means you are going to have more voters. I mean, whether those people are feeding well or not feeding well, at least you can mobilize them into political thuggery.
Dr. Gunyemi, there are some who also think that Nigeria is not too poor for its population, but that the money that it has, the wealth it has, is being misdirected into private coffers and purses. Do you hold that notion as well?
No, I disagree absolutely. Maybe those people are speaking outside of fact. They are speaking out of statistics. Do you know that this year's budget is just 38 billion American dollars? Can you please disaggregate that by dividing it per capita? You will discover to your utter chagrin that every Nigerian has less than $500 per person. So is that not poverty? If your budget is not even up to 40 billion American dollars, and the level of generation of electricity is below 4,000 megawatts, where you will need 50,000 megawatts to be able to at least achieve something. Development. School enrollment is also a factor. It's also a statistic, a determinant. I mean, a statistic I use to measure poverty. Enrollment in the South oscillates between 60 and 65%. Enrollment in the North. In fact, in Katsina State, where last year the total number of students that had 5 credits in English and mathematics were less than 200 people. In a whole state, a state bigger in population, higher in population than Ogun State, less than 200 people had 5 credits. So, is that not another measurement of poverty? I mean, do you not use education as a pointer to either poverty or riches? It's as simple as that. So, I don't agree with these statistics that is saying that we are generating money, but that the money is not is enough for us. It's only that some people are stealing it. I mean, there are certain wealth that if you steal, you yourself will you our infrastructures are poor, decrepit, they are not increasing at all. Number 3 is that education is so terrible in different parts, particularly in the northern part of Nigeria. I mean, it's very good in the southwest. It's 80% really. Enrollment in the southwest average is 80%. In other words, 8 out of every 10 children go to school in the southwest. And they finish, 6 out of 10 finish primary school. And about 50% of them go to at least a technical college. So you can't, that even in England, the rate at which we are producing graduates in the southern part of Nigeria, particularly in the southwest, is greater than that of England. That is why Nigerians are the most educated foreigners in the with 2-3 degrees in a country of not that is not theirs, and they are utterly educated. More educated. So the attitudinal change in different parts of the world, but certainly in Nigeria, we need attitudinal change to population issue in the northern part of Nigeria.
So historically now, at what point do you think that our population became a curse rather than a blessing like it is to some other countries?
It became a curse when foreign companies that were resident here, they were domiciled here, started to close off. When our electricity generation nosedived. When all the manufacturing companies began to batteries, Imperial, ICI, makers of Gamalin 20. Have you ever heard of such companies as Rocheline? You have also heard of companies like Edda Dempster. You have heard of companies, etc., etc. Huge number of companies. Those making batteries, making road glass company, the Nirobi, Nigerian Romanian wood industry in Ondo, the Okitipupa oil park industry. Have you heard of the Nike Tex, Nigerian textile company in Ikorodu there? You would have also heard of Kano Textile Company. You would have also heard of Crown Beer in Kano. You know that the Kano had a brewery called Crown Beer in the 1970s. Okay, this is the place where now people will go and be destroying bottles of beer. But Kano had the beer. The government established a brewery. 1970s. So all these stores when they began to close down, what do I say? Nigerian Tobacco Company, NTC in Kaduna, makers of a bicycle and SM cigarettes. Have you heard that all these companies are closed down? So where will our drivers ever get any job? Michelin has relocated to Ghana. Michelin tires. When some people in the southern part of Nigeria, particularly those people growing in the rubber production belt, River State, Bayelsa State, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, when the youth there decided that, kidnapping and militancy will be more profitable than going to do rubber farming. Of course, those countries closed down. They are not going to get any job. Even in Nigeria, when you have a good idea, you want to set up a company now, you cannot set it up because there is no electricity. And electricity had better be subsidized by government. Otherwise, the ordinary man will not be able to establish even small-scale industries. That's the truth.
Keep your thoughts coming at us on Twitter, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Twitter is Splash FM 1067, hashtag Panorama. We're live on Twitter Space. Facebook, Splash FM 106.7. We're streaming live there too. You can comment in the comment section there. WhatsApp is 0817 555 1067. We'll be taking phone calls now. 0817 555 1067 0704 400 1067. Those are the numbers that you can call. We still have Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi on the line. He's going to stay with us just on the off chance that you have any question for him. Today we've talked about population control, population planning, population census, population management. That's what our issue of the day this morning. I would like to beg you to keep your thoughts as brief as you can manage. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Tajudeen from Agbo.
Tajudeen, good morning. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I called initially to appreciate the doctor who is our consultant this morning. He has really done justice to the topic. And my question is just that if someone is in coma, there is every possibility and every chance that the person will come back to life. But if someone is dead, the person is dead. Now, in my own opinion, Nigeria is dead.
Dead metaphorically, but we'll definitely pass on your question to Dr. Ogunyemi. I'm sure he can hear you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Afolabi.
Afolabi, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Ogunyemi, you have brilliantly given us an insight into the whole population thing. I believe that Nigeria is not a serious country. I watched Dr. Ogunyemi explain this morning. We are not close to our point of regularity. And we collect that there was a time a senator came to the National Assembly with 4 wives, and he was boastful of it. Even 28 children are makers have gone out of the norm. Then the system will always be like this. So, I'm sorry to say, I don't want to be a pessimist, but I'm gradually becoming one. Is there going to be an end to these abnormalities in this country? Because it's as if the people that are at the event of affairs, they are not serious whatsoever, and they are not ready to be serious. Will this to continue until Nigeria becomes that is my question. Then one other thing, sir. I don't know, is there any way I can get your contact? I need to discuss some things with you on an academic basis.
Okay, well, I didn't really catch. Did you catch the first part of his question?
Yes, that can things really change?
Oh, okay.
In this country.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Nicholas.
Nicholas, thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You see, Rufai of Arise TV was interviewing Dr. Baba Ahmed. And Baba Ahmed was against a census because, in his view, the North is at war and the insurgency is rising. But he still insisted that we know our figures. And Rufai asked him again, how are you sure? He told him, we in the North know our figures. You see, Odimegu was appointed by Goodluck to conduct an election. But he was too sincere, like a rebel, and told the whole world that there has never been a credible census in this country. Lola and Boyega, the following week, Rabiu Popanso went to Aso Rock to tell Goodluck that
maybe must be sacked. And that all he had done well in his life was to multiply beer, and was probably taking too much of it, and just affecting his senses. For a man who raised the net profit of Nigerian breweries by the highest in our history. And thank God Dr. Obiani has told the whole world that there were breweries in Kano and that beer was consumed in the north. Census figures in this country have never been reliable. And even in America, numbers are proportional to how you appropriate political values. So, and given the state we find ourselves, where there's corruption and we are overborrowing, China and Russia are superpowers. They take care of their people. So you get to compare Nigeria that has no plan to a country like Russia and China. Now, why is the population in the north increasing with the killings going on there?
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution, Nicholas. 0817-444-1067, 0704-400-1067, 0817-555-1067. That doubles as our WhatsApp line. On social media, Facebook, Twitter, Splash FM 106.7 for the former and Splash FM 1067 for the latter. That is Twitter. On Twitter, hashtag Panorama as you tweet. And WhatsApp, of course, I've called out the line. It's 0817-555-1067 if you missed it the first time. Before we get to some of the social media comments and maybe take a few more calls, let's have Dr. Gunyemi answer the questions that were posed. They're basically the same thing. We had Tajuddin saying Nigeria is metaphorically dead. Can it be brought to life? And we also had Afolabi saying something similar, where he asked if things really can change in this country. Dr. Gunyemi, what's your position or what's your answer to these questions?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. There was none of the questions that I actually had clearly because of the break. And then,
well,
however,
they said the question is that one of the callers opined that Nigeria is dead metaphorically. How can it be brought to life? And the second person said, can things really change in this country?
Okay. Yes, I will start with the last. It is possible for things to change in this country if we change two things. One, if we change our attitude, and two, if we restructure the country. If you restructure the country in such a way that power and political authority is devolved significantly to the regions of Nigeria. In fact, I've always advocated the collapsing of the state of Nigeria. It will not more than 7. 6 in the south, 6 in the north, and 1 at the center, which will be Abuja. Not more than that. Otherwise, what you have today are no development centers at all. They can't drive any development, except 2 or 3 states in Nigeria that can significantly drive development. What you have today is just the multiplication or extrapolation of civil service centers, where people just gather together and collect salaries. Because the rate at which we are creating states and local governments in Nigeria is far, far, far different from the way at which we can ever get development. But let's leave that for another day. We need to restructure by devolving power. There are 68 powers at the center. I mean, the federal government has no business, has no capacity to take 68 out of 98 powers in Nigeria. They should be devolved. In fact, the federal government should not manage more than 20 powers. That which has to do with money, central banking, foreign affairs, defense, issues that has to do with the issue of port and harbor. That's all. And maybe the issue that has to do with Nigeria's boundary issues. That's all. The remainder should be devolved to the states of the federation. And you also need attitudinal change, such that we need to be in this country and agree. The elite must agree. The big problem really is that there is no elite agreement. There's no elite consensus concerning which type of country we really want. Some people want any other thing. Some want a country in which power will be related to economic strength. Yes, devolved power, resource control. Some want a country that will just be like a confederation. Yes, power devolved more to the regions than the center. And so let this elite gather together in a forum. Call it any name. National Conference, National Consensus, Constituent Assembly, any name. But agree on 5 irreducible. One, what is the kind of structure we want in this country? Do we want a presidential, very expensive system? Let power be devolved to the region. 4, issues that has to do with development. We should not politicize it. Electoral issue. It will have nothing to do with quota system. I know that we are on a path that is not good enough, but we can be resuscitated. It's better to act Nigeria as one than to dismember the country. The truth, that's the truth. People like in this other part of the country, but that's the truth. It's better to have this country as one than to dismember it. The only thing that we should devote power.
I'll start with what Abiodun Surakat said. Even after the 2000 population census, was there any planning initiated? Will happen. And then he's also asking who actually borrowed the Chinese government for their developmental strides. So sort of two questions there. So even after a population
not be intervention here and there to do some planning through our laws. For example, we have the 2007 law, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, in which we have a medium-term expenditure framework. It's a kind of a planning. It's a financial plan for about 3 years. So the rolling plans, the financial plans and things like that have not been planned properly called because they have been not on the basic statistics, irreducible statistics, which is the census of the country. They are based more on reports from the petroleum resources or export ACUA rather than on human beings. So we hand the money and then we just spend a la carte as we like. So do we need another census? Of course we need another census. The issue of security being a factor in conducting the good census is also another issue. But you see, all these things are doable when you have the political will, when you have a leader mobilizing the citizens towards development. But when you have a nepotistic leader, a leader that is only thinking only for the preservation of his own part of the country, you can never mobilize citizens. They will never see in you any. In fact, they will be so despondent. So cynical about the country that imagine a Nigerian saying that the country is dead. Is dead. And he's living in that country that is saying it is dead. That tells you the level of cynicism in the country. But not dead, and we don't need to die. In fact, we will not die because it is better to preserve Nigeria as a country of unified entities of multiple nationalities than to dismember her. You will not like if we dismember the country in a situation if it is that we are already developed, we have the infrastructure, and we are dividing the country. We will be like the former Soviet Union. There won't be any problem. But poverty is so rife in our land now. Poverty is so terrible. If you dismember the country and you break into different parts, it will be so unstable that the only thing you are going to have is anarchy really broken upon the land. Because people will just go do anything that they like. Anything that happens in their heart is what they will do. So it's better to keep the country. But restructure the country. Restructure it away from political domineering attitude. And into the issue of economic development. So that, for example, if the Southeast want it, they can have a railway in their area, a railway linking all the 5 states in the Southeast, a railway system linking all the 6 states in the Southwest. Do you know that railway is a federal exclusive preserve? Even when the western region, the western part of Nigeria, in their development agenda called DAWN, that is development agenda for western Nigeria, when they gather together, they sought a Canadian company who were ready to come and invest to link all the 6 states in the Southwest together with a railway. The federal government brought a court case against them, saying that you don't have the right. Railway belongs to me. Don't go and do anything. The same thing Lagos State wanted to do, at least electricity project for itself, so that it could get electricity for its companies and industry in Ekiti and other industrial complexes. Federal government opposed it. In fact, forced the state to a standstill, removed the allocation to local government. This was during the time of the governor, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. To the extent that the state had to abandon the electricity project. Can you imagine? Because the federal government agreed that it is exclusive preserve to it. The state has no power to be doing the electricity. So, what kind of a country you are? I mean, in our own place here in Osun State, we call it you are not doing anything good for the people. And some people gather together, they say, at least for our own people, let's do something what is progressive. You oppose them. You go to court. You stop them. I mean, look at Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It is the most traversed road in Nigeria. The most traversed. There's no road that is as used as that road. Federal government has been on it for 20 years. 20 years. They have gone to court, up to Supreme Court 3 times. With dichotomy, with some others, they are ordered into 3 different companies. Some will do the part of the road, the other will do the bridges, some will do the culverts. What kind of a country? And that is a road that's just less than 200 kilometers. Government could not do it in 20 years. That's infrastructure. So what do you expect?
Right.
There'll be poverty in the land.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi, for your time with us this morning. Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi is a lawyer. He's an economic historian. He's a senior lecturer at the Department of Economic History at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife. Thank you once again, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much.
We'll go on a commercial break now. When we come back, we'll take your comments on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. If you want to drop it, it's not too late. Facebook is Splash FM 106.7, Twitter Splash FM 1067, hashtag Panorama, WhatsApp 0817-555-1067. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
We educate. That's why we are respected. We inform. That's why we are loved. More music. We are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash. Splash. X.7.
Ọ̀pẹ́ iléeṣẹ́ IAS wọ́n sọ pé irọ́ ni lẹ́nu.
Orúkọ mi ni Yáàfin Olúwatóyìn Kòkóọlá. Èmi ni Táíwò Salau tí mo jẹ tó yìí láti iléeṣẹ́ IAS.
Lọ́wọ́ yìí ìlú Dubai lọ́pọ́n tún sún kàn báyìí o. Iléeṣẹ́ IAS ti ṣetán láti sọ 60 ènìyàn di olóríire lóṣù February yìí. Ìwọ ṣàtìrídájú pé ó ra ó kéré tán ìkà kan nínú Prince and Princess City Máwùkọ́ tàbí Orange Value City Alábàtàrọ̀ tàǹtà ìkà kan. Ìyẹn púlọ̀tì mẹ́fà rẹ̀ ní 2.4 million naira. Ní báyìí 60 olóríire ló máa ra ilẹ̀ náà ní 1.2 million naira péré dípò 2.4 million naira. Bí ó bá jẹ́ púlọ̀tì kan ni wọ́n fẹ́ rà 400,000 naira ni o. Ẹ mọ̀ sí gbàgbé pé iye 100,000 naira tó bá wà nínú ilẹ̀ tẹ́ rà ni iye tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì oríire tẹ́ máa gbà pé 09033773189. Ìwọ náà lè pẹ̀lú olóríire mẹ́ta tó máa fi ìrìn àjò sílùú Dubai lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ṣe fàjẹ́. Bí ojúmọ́ mọ́ làwọn tó fẹ́rẹ̀ rọ ọ̀bánisọ̀rọ̀ ansẹ̀. Wọ́n lọ́kàn kámi orí ojú sí wọn lọ́tún. Wọ́n ló sì òye ẹ̀ jẹ́ kí wọ́n ó gbọ́. Ká má wulẹ̀ ṣẹ́jú sí oníbàárà mọ́. Ọ̀dọ̀ símọ̀ tó ń tẹ ojúlówó ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ni wọ́n ń bọ̀. Àbí ṣẹ́ẹ̀pẹ́ ẹ̀ mọ̀ ni. Símọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ èrè àjẹjù kò tún sí lọ́rọ̀ kì í pààrọ̀ fóònù wa. Àyè mọ àwọn sanwó tó yẹ kí lè ta fóònù símọ̀ ló fi ìyàn lọ́kàn balẹ̀ jùlọ. símọ̀ ní torí àǹfààní ń bẹ fún oníbàárà tó bá bá wa ra fóònù lóṣooṣù láti fi ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú ṣèfàjẹ́ ó lè jẹ́yìn lẹ máa jẹ ẹ̀bùn tó ṣù yìí gbogbo ó dòkè téńté lókè léwó bí láfẹ́ wọn bá súnmẹ́yìn àdójúkọ First Bank láfẹ́ wa gangan ní símọ̀ wà ó yẹ pé 08064476837 símọ̀.
kì í ṣòní àná tí iléeṣẹ́ Obatop Properties Limited ti ń talẹ̀ talé káàkiri ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn àtàgbègbè ẹ̀ tí wọn ò sì dẹ́nikẹ́ni kulẹ̀ rí. Obatop Properties Limited ti náwó àǹfààní táwọn ará Ìjẹ̀bú ń jẹ dé ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ará Abẹ́òkúta àtàgbègbè ẹ̀ báyìí o. ìwọ ara lè lẹ́ẹ̀gbẹ́ ìwé lọ́yà lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ perimeter survey plan lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ corner piece ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ̀ tó já àǹfààní ọ̀nà tó já geere lórí ilẹ̀ yín. bẹ́ẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Obatop kì í ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹnu gbó nílùú Abẹ́òkúta ẹ̀ tètè wá ara lẹ́yìn ní Kings and Queen Estate ìlànà tuntun Landa l'Abẹ́òkúta 500,000 naira péré ní plọ̀tì kan. King Suite Agodo Abẹ́òkúta 500,000 naira per plot. Kings Country òkè pa òkè mọ́sàn 4 million naira ní plọ̀tì kan. o lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú 5,000 naira kó o sì máa sanwó lẹ̀ rẹ lọ díẹ̀díẹ̀. bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn ilẹ̀ Obatop ti ń bẹ níjẹ̀bú ń ta warawara. ẹ tètè kọjá lọ sí ọ́fíìsì Obatop Properties Limited níbi Carbonic Plaza Ayétòrò Road Landa l'Abẹ́òkúta telephone 070-3457-1012 àti 090-6867-1988. Obatop Properties Limited, no more rent, no more tension, be your own landlord.
Do you feel the need to take your business to greater heights, grow your business and services beyond your wildest imagination, and have your business and services get to your targeted audience in good time? Worry no more. The Integrity Station, Splash FM 106.7 business is on the map and the desired reach that you need with our affordable quality programs. You can rest assured that we will take your business to greater heights. Do business with us today. For inquiries and advert placements, outdoor coverage, events, and many more, contact us via telephone on 0811-249-0577 or visit our corporate office, Kilometer 1, MKO Abiola Way, Abetu Junction, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Splash FM 106.7, Abeokuta, the Integrity Station. We always have you covered.
ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀pá dé. wọ́n ní ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ kárí ẹ̀ lórí ìgbọ̀ ọ̀tún. pàápàá àǹfààní ọdún tuntun tó gbọ́mọ pọ̀ dáadáa. ilẹ̀ oko mo lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn ọlọ́run dá 25,000 ní plọ̀tì báyìí. ẹ ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ ẹ gba ìdajì sí i. ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ gba plọ̀tì kan sí ilé àgbẹ̀ kọ́bápá alábàtà ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 per plot bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plot mẹ́ta ìdajì lẹ́gbà sí ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ ó gbòdìdì kan sí àwọn onírà ti wà nílẹ̀ láti ra èrè oko yín 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 08033706236 08033706236 ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀kọ̀ ìgbọ̀tún fáwọn àgbẹ̀. ogúnjọ́ oṣù tá a wà yìí láǹfààní yóò pín.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
I like talk radio.
Welcome to your number one talk radio station.
Fasten your seatbelts.
This is your favorite station.
Splash FM 106.7.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
It's 9:01 a.m. in the city. This is Panorama on the Integrity Station. We are Splash 106.7 FM, and we have reached the halfway mark. We're done with the issue of the day. All that's left is to take your comments from our discussion on population planning, population control, population management, and population census. And by the way, the lawmaker that someone referred to is Honorable Al-Hassan Adodogua, who has 28 children, recently welcomed one, I believe, a couple of weeks or months ago. And the reason that I remember this man is because the headline at the time read that he wanted his own polling unit. He was trying to advocate for his own polling unit because he has enough children to constitute a polling unit. All right, let's get on with the comments.
Let me take the rest of the comments on WhatsApp. Abdul Kudus said, "Good morning, everyone in the studio. I want Professor Ogunyemi's input on this. My opinion is that instead of controlling or managing our population by trying to reduce fertility rates, why shouldn't we work to improve our infrastructure and economic development and growth, in which we can become better and maybe a world power to reckon with, as with Russia and China? Because if we continue to control our population, we will continue to foster a below-par economic and infrastructural development, and we may not really grow well. Thanks. God bless Nigeria." Dr. Ogunyemi did say that if we control our population now, that in 20 years from now, we'll have to suffer for it. He did mention that during the course of his conversation. So
it seems he agrees with you too.
The solution to this is not exactly population control. Good morning, panoramans.
Engineer Tayo.
No, not even Engineer Tayo. This is Ahmed Fatai. And he put a smile emoji there. Was it the one that also did that?
I believe that was Engineer Tayo.
He said it is disheartening that we come on radio every day to discuss salient issues with no headway. This is Nigeria. Well, the best we can do is to continue to bring these issues to the with the hope that someone that matters is listening. And you never can tell. Someone that is listening to this program might find himself in a position where he can make some real change in the future. So you never know. So it's not just us coming here to just, talk. It could be that you could be in a position to advise somebody that could make some real change. And then you have some level of knowledge and some information.
You could be one of the stakeholders consulted in a policy that relates to this, and then you could offer your informed opinion on it, thanks to Dr. Williams' analysis.
Engineer Tiami, you said, top of the morning to you, Lola and Boyega. In my opinion, I strongly believe that Nigerian population is supposed to be a blessing to us. Unfortunately, our policymakers and political class have turned a natural blessing to curse to the nation. Secondly, we are overwhelmingly blessed with different types of resources. Unfortunately, these resources were not managed well by our so-called rulers. God bless the Nigerian nation. That's from Engineer Tiamiyu. Nick said the government has also been on the second Niger Bridge and East-West Road for 45 years. I'm just referring to his analysis of the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. What is the beauty of a population of beggars, an army of rustlers, and battalion of girls struggling with VVF? That's also from Nicholas. I'm not sure if money will pass without Nicholas referring to the female population. Good morning to your radio station, Splash FM. I pray for more strength to boost the vision of your radio station. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you for your efforts every day by keeping us updated. In fact, I'm so surprised that upon the ritual killing, kidnapping, etc., that Nigeria is facing, yet the population is still high. Now, wow, Eddy Aina from Bode Olude. Okay, Engineer Adetayo said, good morning, Lola Boyega. I'm waiting for myself now because today one story, tomorrow another one. Well,
what will you call yourself?
We do not pray that this country breaks up. So you still call yourself?
No, I was. What I guess he was saying was I was going to travel outside the country.
Oh,
maybe.
I see. Finally, Olajo said, I'm weeping for this country. Would this country be better again? At times I see Nigeria as a joke and our leaders as clowns, while we, the populace, as the spectators. Why did God allow us to have this kind of retrogressive and not forward-thinking people in the arms of affairs? All we keep getting from them is mismanagement. God help us in this country. Please get your PVC and vote for the right person and not for money bags and bullion van politicians. That's from Olajuel, I believe, from Itaoshin, except if he has relocated from Itaoshin. And just to also mention that it is not just enough to focus on who becomes governor or who becomes president. More attention must be paid to other arms of government, especially the National Assembly and the House of Assembly.
Those clamoring for restructuring and referendum, for example, that will have to go through the National Assembly and not the presidency. So pay just as much attention, if not more, to who is representing you at the House of Reps.
So it's not enough that you're only bothered about, who becomes the next governor of a state or who becomes the Nigerian president in 2023, you should be concerned about who represents you at the House of Reps, at the Senate, your constituency or, whatever it is. It's important that we pay attention to all of this as well.
I've been devising this idea to one day do like do you know your local government chairman and your House of Reps member and your senator? Do you know their names? I fear that many of us will answer in the negative to that. Okay, let's with Facebook now. On Facebook, we have Aditayo Ademola Adeniro, who says, Lola, oh my goodness. Well, I'm guessing he was referring to my atrocious Yoruba. I'm not proud of it, trust me. I've been learning these things since I was a kid, but for some reason, well. Anyway, Aromokun Ayodeji Oluseyi says, my take this morning, make everybody day on their own, I beg. Now by force, we go talk and talk after talk na talk. God bless you, Dr. Tunji Ogunyemi, for such insightful words. What more can you point out to let us know that there was a country? Aditayo Ademola Adeniro says, good morning, Lola. Good morning, Boyega. Lola, let me tell you, population is not our problem. If anyone has this in mind, definitely the person has gotten it wrong. I beg, na lie. How many are we in Nigeria? One single person has over 7 to 10 billion naira in his account. Our past mismanaged our funds. The problem we have, 90% of Nigerians' hopelessness is we still don't have leaders like late Mandela in Nigeria. I don't know what they are trying to say, that the population is our problem. I totally disagree with anybody. Are they telling us not to born again? Let the government do the needful. Let the corruption stop now. Lola, please go and learn Yoruba language very well. Will you teach me? Ifeanyi Iwochukwu says it's better to have the country as one, but this unity benefits a section and stifles another section.
All right, Twitter now. And please, we always advocate for when you tweet at us, please include easy to track messages, but I'll start with Shemfala. It is easy to start analyzing why Nigeria is not developing. Somehow we have deliberately refused to talk about why Nigeria will never develop or move forward. Already this country has been positioned for woes and aggravated failure, like we don't know what's happening. And then he said our statistics at the nation has never been accurate in any way. Numbers don't lie, but in the case of Nigeria, the easiest way to lie is to use numbers. Just check it. Population, assumption, GDP unreliable, inflation rate unrealistic. Very soon the bubble will burst. We need all the change that we can ever imagine. Change of attitude, habits, behavior, values, mindset, mentality, and thought pattern. We have a lot of people both in and outside office whose education and exposure is useless because they can't reason beyond petty sentiments. Sadiq Olaiwola Akindele said, it's so sad that nothing ever goes accurate in this country. Statistics is very crucial to national development, whose budgets will be allocated based on the figures given. I only hope we get it right one day in this country. Nigeria shall be great if, and I think he suspends it like this. At Rare Tips, he said, population has done more harms than good in this country, especially the northern side. We believe they have the population during election. Shemfala said, in 2022, we are yet to solve the problem of power, yet to build proper infrastructure that can drive development, yet to define a proper way to govern ourselves, still unable to education system that will enhance self-reliance and development. Edwin Bayomi said, it has always been that we should devolve power to the regions from the center. Whose duty is it to do this, and why towards this? Well, I think we've touched on that as well. Critical Scorpio said, I think we already have an active to the crisis in both the 1880s and the Great Depression of America of the 1920s. Well, Shemfala again is here, but so that we can move. A country with highest level of hypocrisy, every road usually leads to confusion in the name of corruption. In fact, irregularities is a norm. Corruption is already an ideal. For instance, project cost has been inflated, yet the project will not be done properly. Welcome to Nigeria. This is how our claimed leaders think. Pathetic and unimaginable. All right, that's all from Twitter.
Okay, let's get on with the newspaper review segment of the show that we call From the Pages, and we have joining us for analysis Sir Eddy Aina. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, Andy. Thanks.
Good to have you join us this morning.
I'll be reading from the Punch newspaper as well as Premium Times and The Guardian, their websites.
I'll check the Nigerian Tribune newspaper and the Nation newspaper as well.
From the Punch newspaper now, we have APC women leader urges federal government to close gender gaps in politics. We also have from the Punch, fuel subsidy, Labour fumes as IMF warns federal government fresh borrowings. On politics, Osun says my generation should step down. I have chronic diabetes, Abba Kyari tells court. On article citizenships, harassing political.
Primary election results. The Kanu. Okay, this one too. Oyo police arrest railroad clip vandals. These are some of the headlines on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
From Premium Times newspaper, APC makes U-turn, fixes national convention for 26th March. Tells court that NDLEA's cocaine deal allegation against me, the police. CS for assent to electoral bill. And those are some of the, we also have PDP postpones Lagos State Congress, alleged age falsification, National Assembly officials, 6 court absence, while law alleges that SSS is preventing us from visiting Nnamdi Kanu.
All right, let's check out rail tracks vandalization. He says Amechi Abekam's renewed battle. Southeast won't accept vice president, says Oan. Tuesday over alleged 2.9 billion naira fraud. While stampeded to sign electoral bills. Presidency. Wow. I think we should just delve into some.
Well, on due powers, if you remember, it was our issue of the day a couple of weeks back on nepotism, given the appointment of state's son into. But yes, let's get on with the newspaper review segment of the show. We have, of course, Eddy Aina joining us here. Let's begin with Obasanjo's statement that he called on the old generation of Nigerians to give way for the younger generation to build a prosperous nation. According to him, rather than compete, the old generation should collaborate with the younger people and provide them with the requisite knowledge and experience to transform the country. And this is coming on the heels of a day or two ago that, yes, youth should, before they, and that they themselves will, that when they grow old, they can
self-centered. If you look at it from the
Which of
two
them?
angles, the two angles, because even the Obasanjo, also some people have argued that we should listen to the message, not the messenger. But I recall, when Chris Okute, Chris Okute wanted to, and he said, God. Last, he would and all that. So, and you recall, even his second term, look at the woman that was, the PDP woman that got abandoned. So it's not the age, the way I'm going to look at it. It's not the age, but we should allow the youth, to, be involved in governance, because we need it. So many other countries, especially in Nordic countries, the man who came before him, it's not. I think it is the how our institutions, are okay. The Shuwara and all the rest of them, when it came to appointing one person, they all backed out. So that's another factor to look at. But for Tinubu, I said it's self-centered because the man is saying, allow me to. I mean, why everybody has the right, to contest. If they are contesting, let the youths who are interested contest. So for me, this, selfish angle, yes, I want to. I think youth can take depending on the way they want to go about it. Because some people infiltrate them, ensure that they show character, and they got there and did what they wanted to do. Because if you look at the third force, I'm not sure the third force, is going to work, because it didn't work in 2019. But let's just hope if they are able to convince Nigerians, because if you want to take power from these old individuals, who already have the machinery. Look at what Gandhi just said yesterday. It is payback time for Tinubu. And that's the way they look at it. They said he helped our own man. This was somebody who wanted to be president 2003, 2007, 2011. He didn't make it. He came to Tinubu, and Tinubu helped him, not only during the first time, he even massively assisted him, through Western, to the Southwest. So that's the way they look at it. They have the machinery, but the youth don't have the machinery. But if they want to take over power, you don't have it a la carte. You must work for it. And how do you work for it? You have to gather yourself, realize the youth, let them know why they have to do it, why they have to come together. Because funny enough, how much votes did Chiwore have? Of them, but I think it's not age really that can do it. If you say age, I have right, to contest. They are Nigerians, right? So now he's saying, wait for me. I don't agree. I mean, allow me to do it. No, in fact, it depends on us Nigerians. If we Nigerians see the right youth, we should kill behind that. It's just the narrative. The way the narrative is going, for me, because look at who are coming out. Apart from Mogalu, I've not seen anybody who hasn't participated in the mess we have now. He's saying our own age. Professor Wale Soyinka too said it's a wasted generation, and he had the reasons for saying that at that point in time, because that generation have not been able to bring Nigeria out of the woods. We have Nigerians, and Nigeria have not succeeded in helping the youth, the vulnerable. We have corruption and all those things, educational backwardness and what have you. So back to your question, if I compare the two statements, they are from the selfish point of view, because they had the opportunity. How many youths served under Obasanjo when he was in office? How many youths did he make a minister? I mean, so if but he must have said, now, yes, it's the time for the youth, but will they be able to muster power in order to be able to convince themselves, to say, okay, this 33%, and even the children, the women, those are the two groups we should convince. Sadly, the women will kill behind the men. Look at this woman that wanted to be president. She was the only person that voted for herself. Nasat or whatever, I recall under PDP. She voted for herself. And we have women.
Professor Shonaya.
Not even Shonaya, before her. No, I mean, Shonaya is Professor Shonaya. This woman.
Because she herself had
exactly, had only one vote. So you can see how women. Whereas if women are convinced that there is so much unemployment, their children are a burden to them, most of them run around to get jobs for their children, and let's not take this 5 naira or rice or whatever. Somebody needs to convince the women and the youth.
Right. Well, what Tinubu said was that I learned that youths want to become president. Do you want to send us out of the country? I will become president before you also will grow old. Now, speaking of youth taking power, isn't it perhaps a pipeline problem given the youth turnout even during elections, voting? I mean, we always focus on youth representation when it comes to candidacy, those who are aspiring, those who are running for positions, but even during elections, do the youths turn out in a convincing enough number? Given the demography of the country and how the youths make up a sizable chunk, about 70% of Nigeria's population, do we see those numbers reflected at the polls?
It's because the oldies, have dominated the political space
but
so
as you
much.
Mentioned yourself,
yes.
Even when we have younger candidates, the youth still don't vote for them. So is that argument
yes,
because
they are not optimistic that if I come out, look at there is this musician, who contested in Lagos and lost. Bankido. You see, why did he lose?
Well, he lost against a young person too.
Yes, yes, he lost against a young person. But how many of Obanikoro? You cannot compare Obanikoro, to. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You cannot, because these are entrenched interests in Lagos politics. So there is no way any other person can do it. Even when you look at the appointments made by Obasanjo, I looked at them from Akinjide's, one of Akinjide's daughters, to this Femi Fani-Kayode, and look at them. They were children of people who have made it, and that's the kind of policies we play. Nobody will remember. And Eddy Aina somewhere, nobody, because you don't, either your family has not, has not entrenched themselves, or you have not shown up and all that. Whereas there are instances when look, this guy can do it. Look at Akeremi, the man at AFDP, he performed very well as a Greek minister. Akinwumi Adesina. He performed very well. I think we have to get to that stage, but even if you look at age around that time too. So, like women, youth too don't believe in themselves. Or maybe somebody who can convince them that he can do it has not come out. Let's just hope in this 2023. Because there are different groups coming up. I mean, there's one, being bandied about, by... this Professor Patutomi, some lawyers and all that, Falano and all the rest of them. Let's see what they want to come.
But beyond the rhetorics of let's get our PVCs, youth should come out, let's try and hand voter party, the larger picture is that political parties rest on structures. Structures are fine. Of course, I've known this over time, and we see it on Twitter as well. A number of youths that try as possible grassroots and try and build from there, mobilize and what have you. So, is it possible really with how our politics is structured? Our politics are not cheap. So, are the odds not really stacked against the young people? Because if you don't have structures, it's.
I think I mentioned passing the other time that the oldies have dominated the field. They have the money, they have the structure. Look at even somebody like Atiku, for instance. Atiku has friends all over Nigeria. Look at Tinubu, he has friends all over Nigeria. How many friends do you have that can really win election for him? That what Ganduje said about they in the north, he said we in the north, we want to pay back. Can anybody say that about Momongalu or Shuwure? Because they don't have this structure that we are talking about. They haven't spent many years in politics. They have not occupied positions. They just came out from the blues. You'll be shocked that this coming election in 2023, maybe, I'm not projecting, and I'm not prophesying, but one of these people that we are lambasting every day may come out, to win the primaries of the two political parties, and may not necessarily be one of these issues we are talking about, because already there are alignments and realignments of forces. Even look at the chairmanship of APC. I mean, from Akume, to so many of them. Musa is now this guy former governor of Nasarawa State. He is the president wants that because he belongs to CPC, and so there are all kinds of forces which the youths are not part of. Then we don't have to overlook the fact that when you look at different regions, there are factors that make people vote in those places. Look, in the north, somebody told me, a northern person, very strong person, that when it's 24 hours to the election, they have sectional heads manning cells. They summon them and say, okay, this is the way to go. Whether you are a woman or youth or whatever. And that's the way they are going to go. And they have even been telling us that they have the population and that they want to go back there. But for the forces coming out, all the right people saying no. Akeredolu, all the rest, Obasanjo and this northern man that say no, you cannot go that route. Because even the federal constitution has federal character, input there that says or election that will count. Whereas let me take Southeast. Southeast is Republican, and that was the reason why even during the colonial days they find it the colonial master find it difficult, to even pick heads because they are individualistic. Yes, it's me and me. I mean, when I went to on behalf of NBC to work in that place for 5 years, I mean, and I see stretching their hands, to greet elders, whereas I was bending down. And one man told me, I stayed 20 years in Lagos. I know you Yorubas are very respectful of elders, but they are just, that's the way they look at it. They are individualistic. So, yes, at a point in time, you can convince people. But we too, there is, apart from influence of money and rights and what have you, to certain section of the community, the educated ones have their minds, have the way to go. So it's an amalgam of all these cultural factors, educational factors, and what have you, that would even determine where they vote. And of course, don't take out the factor of rigging, because you can only rig where you are where you are strong.
All right, Emmanuel Balogun, I see you on Twitter Space requesting, but please just hold on for a bit. We'll get to comments shortly, and then if you are still there, we'll take your contribution. But let's check out another story, and this one also related to the elections. Buhari can't be stampeded to sign electoral bill, says President. Don't forget that at any point in time, on any of the topics we are discussing, you can drop us a comment as we progress. Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp, all available options for you. So, President Muhammadu Buhari cannot be stampeded into signing the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, the presidency told Nigerians yesterday. Special advisor to the president of media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, said it was hasty for some groups to ASU, the president, over their perceived delay in signing the bill that was transmitted by the National Assembly on 31st January. Well, when the president declined assent initially, he cited that particular clause.
Exactly, in
and now the
direct
National
grammar.
Assembly has, revisited the clause. So, is it not right for Nigerians to now ask again what the delay is about?
It's more than right, because this president, like some people said, seems not prepared to sign any electoral law. Because since he got in there in 2015, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, he has not signed any electoral bill. In fact, the last time, under the excuse, under the excuse of, the time was
submitted too late.
Yes, the time was not right. And there is this ECOWAS law that says that 6 months you cannot sign that bill and all that. But the fact is, some people have argued, and we don't have to throw it away, that the APC is not comfortable with direct transmission of results, from polling booths and all that. Because, yes, I read it. Additional is saying, after all, he still has March 1st to sign. But given the anxiety there, in fact, INEC is even saying, if you don't, if care is not taken, if the president doesn't sign it in time, it's going to affect Ekiti, it's going to affect Osun, and it's going to affect their preparation. These are the people who really need it, and they are saying, please, Mr. President, sign it, because it can assist some people. In fact, not signing the 2015 election was what gave Wike and Emmanuel the opportunity, because they lost at the tribunal, they lost at the appeal. It was the Supreme Court through Odili and all the rest of it. He said it. He said, yes, each time I met Odili, he will tell me who to go and meet and all that. And the Supreme Court judges anchored it on the fact that electronic transmission. No, not even transmission, the electronic running of election, operating electronics, whatever, that is the accreditation and all that, is against and the governor of Akwa Ibom. So again, this last time around, it was this transmission result directly, from the polling booths that even caused, and the article has been saying, INEC has the SAFA and all that, but that is a different story entirely. Now, some people are now saying, if this man doesn't sign, he will have another reason. Recall what Malami said, that yes, if I look at it arrogantly and I feel there is not. And Bashiru told him, look, we are not even dealing with you. I mean, these are structures. There's the judiciary. There are three arms of. We cannot talk. So that is it. Who knows what Malami will come out with? Because they may look at even this independence candidate. They might say, okay, why are you allowing independent candidature? Whereas what is there already is that party sponsor candidates and all that. So nobody is sure. And because he is saying the president has to scrutinize it for 1 month, when the nation is, on the precipice, when INEC is waiting, I think I'm not convinced. I'm tending to believe that something may be inside it, that by March 1 or before March 1, the president may throw it back. Because you say direct will impinge on the constitution of parties. And they have even given you 3 now. Direct. And direct they use in Osun that.
All right. We also have Azan Abdusalam also on Twitter Space, also requesting, please also hold on. Another issue has to be that of Abba Kyari approaching the court about his saying he wants to get treatment abroad.
And also suing the federal government for illegally, actually suing the NDLEA for illegally detaining him without bringing him to court or charging him to court first. He's been detained since 12th of February when he was arrested for allegedly being a drug mule.
You see, Nigerian politicians or government officials, they have this knack, for giving excuses. Other people, when it comes to their turn, they have excuses. Recall, so many of them. Dino Melai, even the former governor of Ekiti, Steve Fayoshe, and all
Severe pains.
They will collapse, yes.
What about the one that his jaw had to be open?
Exactly, there's this.
During the NDDC.
Yes, even the former spokesperson of PDP, Oli Sametu. So, I'm not surprised that he's now claiming, he has diabetes and all the rest of them. But although he's right, to claim fundamental human rights about when he's detained illegally. But I do not think this time around he's detained illegally because the NDLE, the police, they have structures. They have the law is there, as to how many days or months they can detain you, and depending on the case. You see, the issues surrounding Abba Kyari are very serious issues. One has to do with America, hush puppy, and all the rest of them. Then the other one has to do with drugs. Unfortunately, we don't even know the impact of this drug, tramadol, and all on our children. All this kidnapping and all the rest of them, killing people. These 4 boys, that slaughtered a girl, they don't do it without taking drugs, and that's the reason why developed countries don't take kindly to it. I recall America went to a country and picked the president, Granada or somewhere, picked the president live. We took him to America to try and imprison him there because they say this drug we are peddling, cocaine and all they are turning our children to vegetables. Now is his turn, and it's been proven because they have video recording of what he said. They set up somebody. These guys that they normally set up. They didn't know. He went into the trap. So why are you now talking of for how long has Kanu been staying in detention? So all this clean, but he has the right to go to court and sue and whatever, under the guise of Kenny. But he has done more than that, to individuals the vulnerables who don't have the voice. Well, I'm surprised. There was this governor, former military governor in Kano State. When he was in office, he would rough handle journalists. His men would rough handle journalists and treat them anyhow. So when he left office, he was accused of so many things, and he was given the right treatment, and he started calling out, "Journalists, help me!" So that's the character of human beings. When you do things unenviable, unsavory, to others, you don't remember that one day you may be behind them. Abba Kyari has done so much, at least going by what we read in the paper, he has done so much harm to himself, to his family, and to this country. And all this detention, suing the federal government, I'm surprised, because there are people who are in there who don't even have the opportunity. There are people who have been languishing in jail because they don't have the opportunity of even, getting somebody to take them to court.
All right.
Okay, well, we also have Abba Kyari narrating, or his lawyer narrating his own side of events, where he said this allegation is a trump-up one without sufficient proof. And he said he was only brought in because an informant who had tipped the IRT on drugs being brought into Nigeria with complicity from the NDLEA was not being appropriately compensated by NDLEA officers. And so he stepped in to save the situation and drew the ire of the NDLEA bosses. It's a long story, but that's the summary of his account of what happened.
Yeah, two things. If he is sure that all these allegations are trumped up charges, let him volunteer to say, okay, repatriate me to America. That's number one. Then number two, you are, and so that. What trump up is he talking about? Because there are evidences to show that you are involved in all these things. When you go and read social media comments, the people that Abba Kyari has stepped on their toes. It's payback. It's law of karma that has brought him on. Right. Let him not give us.
Is it possible that he may
be
innocent?
The courts are there. I'm not sure.
In this instance, or maybe guilty in other instances.
Whatever instance, a law officer, a law officer of that caliber, celebrated, worshipped, and promoted beyond even his with this braggadocio, he did it, and now he's in. NDLE. But for Marwa, if Marwa were not a retired military officer, they may have gotten away with it. But because he's a military officer, and they know Colonel Marwa was the former governor of Lagos State. They know that he knows his onion. That's the reason why he was able to get Abba Kyari out.
All right. Let's get to Twitter space now very quickly. Let's get at speak now if you can hear us.
But if you'd like to call the phone lines, the numbers are 0817-555-1067.
Emmanuel, are you okay? Let's before we also continue, let's talk about the APC primaries in Osun State. It was our issue of the day yesterday, and the faction loyal to the former state governor, Rauf Aregbesola, has said that they rejected the results of the party primary and that they will appeal initially with the party organ. But I'm sure maybe if that does not work, maybe they'll proceed to court. But Azan Abdusalam, I've also approved you as a speaker. So if you can hear us, we'd like to take your contribution now. Or Emmanuel. Okay, I think Emmanuel is on now.
Emmanuel, if you can speak, we can hear you. You're live.
We can hear you, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, proceed with your comments.
I think it shouldn't be hijacked. Somebody in the studio there hijacked the platform. If we are speaking, at least it should be 2 minutes or 3 minutes thereabout, so that people listening to you will also contribute. I think that is the essence of this space thing. You spoke for a very long time. However, my contribution is this. I want to talk on the electionary process in this country, Nigeria, the politics. Now, Nigerians, especially southwestern Nigeria, the southwesterners should learn from electionary process and the politicking in southeast, especially in Anambra. Now, Anambrans vote for individuality persons into power, unlike what we see in southwest, where Togri and hooliganism is promoted, highly promoted. Now, they hire boys and those sort of things, and somebody is supporting somebody,
Emmanuel? Oh my, we seem to have, okay. Is it back now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but
Hello?
you need to wrap up now.
Okay. Now, Peter Obi, Amici, Wike predecessor, and even Wike, Donald Duke, and his immediate successor. I will say Fashola, but not Fashola. I will not mention Fashola. Ambody. These are very few people from this southern Nigeria that I will vote if possible with my two hands when they come out whenever they want to, and when they aspire for any position in Nigeria. Yes. Why won't I vote for even the incumbent governor of Lagos State again? We have passed the era of godfatherism. They should stop promoting godfatherism in southwestern Nigeria. Why should I vote Tinubu as the president of Nigeria? No, I shouldn't. I will not vote for Tinubu or support Tinubu as the president of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Well,
very much. We appreciate your contribution.
We appreciate you, but we have to let others also join in the conversation. Azan also has indicated his desire to speak, but you must understand that as much as we're on Twitter space, we are a radio station, and there are other avenues through which we also get people to contribute to the program as well. But we still have Eddy Aina with us. We call him Sir Eddy Aina, a veteran journalist and public affairs analyst, analyzing the newspapers this morning. So let's get.
My guess is he stumbled on the Twitter space and just, clicked on it.
So
we're
on
simulcasting. We're live on broadcasting on radio
as well,
and also Twitter space. If you'd like to call via the phone lines, of course, too, you can call 0817-444-1067, 0704-400-1067.
I don't know if Eddie would like to say something as regards some of the comments made by Emmanuel.
Incidentally, I didn't.
All right, let's get to the phone lines now.
Eddie, we'll get back to you. Let's just take this
Mm-hmm.
call. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Nicholas, good morning.
That is Nicholas. What are the pressing issues in this country? LGA autonomy, our doctors and nurses trying to leave this country, our porous borders, drug abuse, the widening tax nets for the poor, the pension funds, insurgency, and even cheap drugs available on our streets. But what do we hear the people who want to get into power saying? Dirty. I want to fight dirty. I have more money to spend than the other person. And when we say these things, it applies the majority of the Nigerians who are outside the political machine don't even understand these things. Lola, you talk about the youth. The truth is that whether in America or Britain, there's what they call the political machines. These are the systems, the infrastructures, the architectural designs upon which elections are won or lost, which the average, sincere, honest youth that survive being gunned down in Lekki does not have, unless he wants to be a big ritualist or he wants to get ahead. Sort of. On the issue of youth or age, Christ was teaching elders at 12. Do not be divided on account of your youth. At the same time, we know that David and Isaac, when they were old, were vulnerable. But we still saw a Caleb who wanted to go to war in his advanced age. Ayo Adebanjo is 93. He is stronger than many Nigerians who are less than 50. The Pope is 86. He's heading the largest organization in the world. But at the same time, if we don't want a tanker at 95 who is being held by two men when he moves. So it's quite revelative. That's my view.
Right.
What's up? Elder Abiodun from Bodio, they said, good morning once again, Splash FM. I wonder why Abba Kyari can come out to say he doesn't deserve to be detained in the custody of the NDLEA. Such a shameful thing to say. He did not feel ashamed of what he did. Anyway, I cover my face on his behalf. Thank you. Well, it's also testing the laws. Hello, good morning.
Babari, thank you for joining us. Good morning, go ahead.
You are very sure that because Marwa is not marked in NDLA, the man the hunter that is being hunted now will never go country. That's why let me ask you, where is your agreement today? Where are those military men that hunt down, massacred 600 Jari men when they went for the rescue of the man that was involved in that case? Where are those people? Where is your agreement? Where are those military men? So the same thing, we now definitely just keep our fingers crossed and see what comes out of this case.
Thank
I will have loved if the federal government, extradite, just hand over Gary to the American government.
All right. Thank you.
Babari.
We also have this call here. Good morning.
Good morning, Nana.
Please turn down the volume on your radio set. Thank you as you comply. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning.
What?
This is Engineer Tayo Adeniran.
All right, please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Boyga.
To you.
Good morning, Syed.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I comment on what Baba Oba said. So, I don't believe when Baba talks. When Baba says his generation should step down for the youth, I know Baba knows that the youth are spoiling this time around. That's why Baba says it. If Baba could say the elders want to step down, I just want to be you. Sir, I went to one of the INEC offices maybe 2 or 3 days ago. We were like 40 here. The youth that wanted to collect the PVC were just only two guys. We that we are about 40, 10. The people over 65, 70, 75, they were 30 plus. How are we going to take over from these people when the youth themselves are not ready? Please, the truth has to be said. Let's talk to the youth. It is not by mouth. The youth of Nigeria today are social media youth. They will just be complaining.
I don't know if you asked. I hope them their age before you assume that, but we do get your drift, and that's why even on this program and several of our programs, people to get their PVC, especially get involved in the process. Be a part, understand what is going on, try and make findings. Yeah, these are some of the things we have.
Listen to Panorama.
Yeah, but there's another argument. These youths we want, we are luring, to go and vote and get their PVC. What is the present situation of those youths? I mean, there are people who have left the university 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago and are still struggling. Some of them are, on the neck of their parents, still being fed, still being given money and all that. So they are not, they are not convinced, that even their own situation is worse, that they do not think of going. Even getting to the INEC office.
Well, right, let's run through our comments. Ahmed Fatai said Nigerian election had always been between two devils, where the voters are left to choose the. Dr. Aina had rightly highlighted 2023 will not be an exception with these current arrangements. I think we now need to be more focused on the National Assembly than we used to. This, I believe, will give us ways to desired restructuring. We are clamoring for growth and development. Even if a youth become Nigerian president today with this current structure, I hate the way these people are making mockery of our country. Abba Kyari is now trying to sue the government and form innocent. What a shame. Don't forget that he's innocent until proven guilty by the court of law.
Oh, okay.
Can he do that with the FBI? Let the Nigerian government just repatriate him to the US. God bless Nigeria. That's from Abdul Kudus. Nicholas said, Abba Kyari reminds me of Judas and Nicodemus. He blames IPOB and ESN for his travails, yet he has an Eastern as his lawyer. What a bundle of contradiction. Good morning, Panorama family. Mariam Balogun. On Abba Kyari, it's a reflection of our failed system. Several allegations against him, yet all was thrown under the carpet. A police chief and his crew living beyond their means, no questioning on his wealth source.
Napoleon
Joe
on Twitter says, we lack good leaders in this country. That's why they are using the population in some zones for their own selfish interests. Law in birth control should be passed by lawmakers, but I don't think they will because it will work against them.
Let me quickly run through your additional comment because we didn't take his comment yesterday. Good morning on Panorama. Eddy, we are not talking about youth who went through quality education or educational system that impacts not only knowledge, but most importantly, values that build the likes of Wale Soyinka and late Gani Fawehinmi, who did not top their class at graduation, but became pacesetters in their professional callings because they were able to add value and knowledge to present good virtues in their space of influence. The current youth had their rich parents buy certificates for them, and with nothing upstairs, imposed them on conglomerates built with the sweat and blood of their parents, and lawyer staff to wreck in a short while. These are youths who have been given everything that they believe that they do not need to work when their parents are doing all the work. It's a very long message.
And he always sends it right as we're about to leave. But thank you very much, everyone, for your contribution. Okay. Thank you, Sir Eddy Aina, for your time with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do this again tomorrow from 8 o'clock. My name is Lola Meduteni.
And my name is Boyeka Olani. Enjoy the rest of the day.